So we still have one big update to go for Injustice 2, but outside of that, we're out of content. The next big thing is looking forward to E3, where they're going to likely announce Mortal Kombat 11. That being said, Mortal Kombat 11 will probably get announced a little bit before E3. Based on NetherRealm's track record, they like announcing their games about a week before the actual event of E3 itself. That way, when E3 comes along, they can go ahead and show off any gameplay, and I'm sure they'll bring along a demo that you can play there physically at E3. This is why I want to go to E3 one year. I think it would be a lot of fun. So I wanted to go over 10 features that I would like to see in MK11, and this roughly goes in order that I would like to see them added. I really want to see the gear system return. I think the gear system was one of the best things to ever happen to a NetherRealm game for so many different reasons. I've talked about them a lot on my channel, and I know a lot of people have this kind of weird theory that, well, Mortal Kombat 11 is just going to have variations because MKX had variations, but really, if you look at NetherRealm's track record, they've never really done anything like that before. Usually, they just kind of switch things up every game. Injustice 1 had Star Labs, MKX had variations, Injustice 2 had the gear system, but I think the reason why they were switching it around so much is because they wanted to find a formula that works, and I feel like with enough modification, the gear system is the perfect system you can have. Some of those modifications I'll talk about a little bit later on in this video, but the gear system is just so good for not only experienced players because they get to customize the character in the way that they want to, but also for new players and people who are just interested in the characters because it gives them something to strive for, something to work for while playing whatever the offline game mode is, because it gives them an ability to unlock stuff. The next request is a multiverse alternative. I don't want a traditional tower game mode, although I would like to have a traditional tower game mode within the whatever they end up calling the multiverse in this game, just like we've got the classic tower in Injustice 2, but I really want to see an expanded version of the Injustice 2 multiverse, or just even exactly the Injustice 2 multiverse under a different name, because it gives you a place to unlock new gear, and even without the gear system, I still think it's a really cool system to have in place. People like me who live in such a low populated area that there are days I literally cannot find online matches. This is why I don't have an online series, so being able to play an offline game mode would be super beneficial for people like me, and for people who don't really want to play online. More difficult multiverse challenges is the next thing on my list, and the reason for that is because Multiverse, despite being an incredibly fun game mode, and quite frankly one of the best offline game modes ever in a fighting game, I still think they could do a little bit more with it, add a little bit of challenge. Really, right now, there's only 2 challenges in the Multiverse. There's the Endless game mode, and there's the Survivor game mode. I think you could expand upon that a lot more. I would have liked to have seen a one-fight tower that was just versing Brainiac, but like a crazy version of Brainiac that was just going super hard, and he had like all of these crazy abilities just like he has in the Multiverse, but kind of cranked up to 11, and you can get like a really awesome reward for beating him. That I think would be very cool. Next up is ranked mode. I think ranked mode is a necessity, and it's amazing to me that NetherRealm still does not have a real ranked mode. Some people are going to say, well, Bilbsy, what are you talking about? MK9 had ranked mode, Injustice 1 had ranked mode, MKX had ranked mode, Injustice 2 has ranked mode. None of these are actual ranked modes. They just call it ranked, and it has a different leaderboard, and it shows your win-loss specific for that game mode, but in all honesty, there's no big difference between regular ranked mode and competitive player match. Personally, I would like to see competitive player match gone, just replaced with a regular versus mode, and that versus mode can go back to what it used to be, which is, you know, both players have to select to enable gear or disable gear, or even one player should just be able to disable the gear option. But regardless, none of this is important. What is important is that we get an actual ranked mode. What do I mean by an actual ranked mode? I want to see a rank. I want you, when I queue up, I want to see, okay, I am bronze, or I am silver, or I am gold, or diamond, or platinum, or whatever. I want to see those things because A, it gives me a sense of progression. It lets me know that, hey, I went from bronze at the start of this month and now I am gold. Look at that amazing progression. It also gives me an idea of how strong my opponent is. It's really annoying for me when I go play Injustice 2 online and I play like 7 matches and I win them all and I feel like, wow, I'm getting so much better at this game, and then I'll verse somebody who destroys me and it's not even close, and he just knows all these crazy block strings and he knows exactly what he's doing and how to counter the character I'm playing, and I have no idea how good that guy is. If that guy is literally in the top like 3% of players, if he's like the equivalent of Diamond or Challenger, whatever, if he's like a super high rank, I wouldn't feel as demotivated when I lose to somebody like that, where if I go play online right now, it's kind of just gives me this empty feeling when I lose to someone as good as that, because it's like, do I really need to take the time to improve to be able to beat somebody like that? I'm not sure. But if I verse that guy and I find out, well, that guy's only gold, well, you're damn right I need to improve. I need to get better than that. That's just embarrassing. These are things that I think would be very important for both newer players, people who are looking to get into fighting games competitively, and people who are already into fighting games competitively. Speaking of ranked modes, I want to see legitimate rewards for ranked mode. So many of the games that I play competitively, or so many of the games I have played competitively, I should say, reward you for playing online. Hearthstone is a game that I played extensively for competitive reasons. I was quite good at that game, and I enjoy playing that game, and one of the things I enjoy the most is unlocking the golden heroes, because it gives you a sense of progression when you play ranked mode. The golden heroes, for people who don't know, is unlocked when you get 500 wins in ranked. I would like to see something cool like that to be added to the Injustice formula, or the Netherrealm formula, I should say, in MK11. How cool would it be if that game does have shaders in it? How cool would it be if you got a shader similar to the tournament shader if you got like 100 wins in ranked with one character? I think that would be super, super cool. It would show everybody that, hey, look, I am a Liu Kang main because I got my tournament shader for Liu Kang, although it wouldn't be called tournament shader, it would be called something else. Just like a cool golden shader to have. The next thing on my list is the removal of abilities, extra abilities, gear abilities. Instead, I would like you to be able to unlock these abilities just from leveling up the character. That way there's no randomness involved through unlocking these things, and you could potentially even incorporate them into the ranked mode if that's something they would like to dabble with in MK11. This requires a ton of different balancing than what we have in Injustice 2. In Injustice 2, they very much knew that, hey, these moves are never going to be used in competitive, so we can be a little bit more crazy with them, but if you balance them in the right way, and you didn't make them random, and you made them something you can unlock, this could be an interesting take on sort of kind of a variation system, but much more specific than that. I think this would be a great idea because it would give that variety that you got from the variation system along with a customization system for the more casual player. The next thing I would like to see is multiple mother box types, although they wouldn't be called mother boxes in MK11, they'd be called whatever they come up with for this potential gear system. I would like to see multiple event style boxes. I mean, look at Overwatch. Every time something special is happening in the world, whether it be the Lunar New Year or Christmas or the anniversary of the game or anything like that, they add a new mother box to the game, or in that game it's called a loot box, and it has a ton of different customization options that are specific to that event. How cool would it be to unlock a Christmas hat for Kung Lao? I think it would be pretty sweet anyway. I'm sure most of us think it would be pretty sweet, and I'm kind of disappointed this didn't end up happening in Injustice 2, and I certainly hope that they focus on the gear system a little bit more and hopefully be able to add stuff like that in the future. The next thing is more new characters. One of my favorite things about MKX was the new characters. Characters like Devore ended up being some of my more favorite characters in that game just because of how unique they were, and quite frankly, so well designed. Even Cassie Cage is a character I like a lot as well. They did a fantastic job with the MKX series, and I certainly hope that they're willing to add more unique characters, on top of bringing back some old characters to, of course, make the fans happy. Speaking of more characters, I want to see more horror characters for DLC. For me, part of the draw that almost got me to play MKX, granted I didn't end up doing it because I didn't have the time at the time when MKX was around and kind of relevant, the big draw for me was Jason Voorhees and Alien, Leatherface. All of these characters were the characters I was most interested in playing, and that's just because the idea of having those characters in the game. And honestly, I would be willing to pay for a pack that gave me those characters in MK11, even if they were legitimately identical to the MKX version of the character, if that's what it takes to get them into that game, because I would love to be able to play Jason Voorhees again, and I would love to be able to play Alien again. These characters are so iconic, and having them in the game would be a huge plus, especially with a potential gear system. And finally, the final request I have for MK11, and I am aware that this one will never happen just because of the type of cross-promotion which would need to happen, but I think this would be such a huge change for people like me who prefer to play on certain platforms, and that would be the addition of cross-platform. My favorite platform is the PC platform. I love playing on PC. I've got a 1440p monitor, so being able to play games at 1440p natively on my computer feels great. It looks beautiful, and it's not an experience I can get on console. That being said, you know what's an experience I can't get on PC? Injustice 2, because there's no one playing on PC, and that's partially to do with the delayed launch of the game, but also because it is a fighting game, so there's very few people who play on PC because often fighting games don't get a lot of support on PC. Cross-platform would change that for a lot of people who like playing on the PC platform, and even on the Xbox platform in certain regions. I've played like maybe 5 matches on Xbox, and that's because finding matches on Xbox is hard, man. Most people are on PS4, so cross-compatibility would be a huge deal for everybody, and sadly, it's not even up to NetherRealm. I mean, it's sort of up to NetherRealm in the sense that I guess they could request it, but it's up to Sony and Microsoft and Steam if they want to work together. Steam has notoriously been quite open to the idea. Sony not so much, and Xbox even less, but I certainly hope it happens. I actually do have one final request for this, but I'm not sure if it will ever happen, so I'm gonna use it as an honorable mention type thing, and that's a Nintendo Switch version of the game. I love my Nintendo Switch. I don't play it very much right now because the only games I have for it are ARMS, Super Mario Odyssey, and Pokken Tournament, and all of which I have played through a considerable amount, so I would like to get some new games on my Switch. One of them is going to be BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle later on this year, but I would also really like to see MK11 supported on the Switch. There's a few different reasons why this probably won't end up happening. MKX was a very beautiful game, and trying to get that on a Nintendo Switch I think would be quite difficult just graphically. Another problem is that, well, it's quite a graphic game, and is that something that the Nintendo Switch is willing to have on their platform? I actually believe so. Grand Theft Auto 5 is heavily rumored to be releasing on the Switch sometime in the future, and it wouldn't surprise me if it did, despite that game not being anywhere near as gory as, say, something like Mortal Kombat. It does handle a lot of taboo subjects, and I personally think it would be more surprising to see a game like GTA 5 show up over a game like Mortal Kombat. These are just the things I would like to see in Mortal Kombat 11, or the things that I hope manage to make their way into the game. Now, if you have some differing opinions, I would love to hear them in the comment section below. I know I don't always respond to my comments because I'm usually quite busy. I'm working on a lot of different things right now, not just my YouTube channel. I'm working on a couple other stuff that I don't necessarily want to talk about because that's going to be a bit of a surprise, but it will be up on my second channel sometime in the future, so go check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you want to communicate with me more easily, I'm on Twitter. I talk there all the time. You can come check out my Patreon if you're an extra tier supporter. Like the video to help other people find it. My name has been Bilbsy, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.